came up with some of the stats involved with the St. Louis Blues. Their first Stanley Cup win ever. It's in 52 years. Here's what happened. They beat the odds. They fired their head coach after 9-3 start. Then they had a record of 15-18-2 after 37 games, which was the worst in the NHL. They then went 30-10-7. How about that? To finish the season at 45-28-9. And they won the Stanley Cup after not making the playoffs last year. How about that?
Yeah, and right around that 37-game mark, I think they were 250-1 odds to win the Stanley Cup.
I heard Boomer Esiason talking about it on 92.3 The Fan. Somebody that he knew put $400 on them to win.
Yes.
The Stanley Cup, and a couple of other side bets. He had a good week.
Yes.
No question about that. All right, so the question is, can worst to first, could that happen in, I don't know, the American League Central Division?
Yeah, and I mean, obviously the Indians wouldn't be coming from worst, but I get your point. They're mediocre to first. I suppose it's possible again, but with each passing day, the Twins look legitimate to me. Certainly their offense looks legitimate to me, and they have just enough pitching. What did we see in the 90s, Les, with the Indians? If you had even decent pitching, you were going to win. And I'm not comparing the Twins' offense to the Indians' offense of the 90s. I'm simply saying that in the American League, if you have a viable offense, you can carry an okay staff. And the Twins would argue, hey, what do you mean okay? We've got Odorizzi, Berrios, and Martin-Perez pitching lights out.
Now, the bullpen is not very good.
On the other side, we're going, well, they got to come down a little bit from where they are. Maybe not Berrios. And I respect Odorizzi more than a lot of people do. But Perez is the one who seems to be pitching over his skis.
You see the Indians, every once in a while they break out of it and start hitting, but you're not going to be able to hit as a team if you've got Ramirez doing what he's doing and Kipnis doing what he's doing.
Yeah, Les, and you had mentioned about, Francona seemingly wanting to bunt more. Not seemingly, definitely bunting more.
Right.
I think what he's trying to do, it's not that he's suddenly fallen in love with bunting.
No, he hates the bunt.
It's that he says, you know what? I got to try something because we can't sit back and wait for the 3-run homer. No, not this crew.
But the worst thing that can happen happened the other night. He's got Bowers batting with runners on first and second. He calls the bunt, and he pops it up.
Popped it up against
not only is it bad,
Chapman.
not only are the odds bad if it's a successful bunt, it's horrible if it's a bunt that fails completely. In fact, somebody should tell, this is happening all over baseball. These guys are popping up on bunts and they're not running it out, and all you got to do is let the ball fall and you're going to get yourself a double play. And
yes.
It could have happened if the first baseman was looking at what Bowers was doing down the baseline.
I agree, Les. The one guy on this roster that I would give license to bunt or play as small a ball as he wants is Jose-Ramirez, in hopes that the small steps lead to the bigger steps. Because, and I know Francisco-Lindor came out a few weeks ago and said, I want him to hit home runs. That's how he's going to break out of his slump.
Because that launch angle is going to be higher and higher.
I think that's part of what got him into trouble last year, was he smelled 40 homers. He was at 39. He got stuck on 39. Or he didn't hit many for the rest of the last 2 months. I would like to see Jose-Ramirez, who has speed, play the small ball game until he gets some confidence in the box.
Well, I'll go one step further.
And then he can start swinging for the fences, if you will.
I'll go one step further on that. If he lays down a bunt with the way they have the shift over, even the third baseman, or the third baseman isn't playing in, he's playing back, but they've got the shift on. If he can lay down a bunt either down the third base line or pass the pitcher toward the second baseman's position, all that's going to do is take them out of the shift a little bit and open up where he hits a little bit more.
You would think. But the contrarian or the cynic would say, well, there's so many issues with Jose-Ramirez that can't be expected to solve them. I'm not saying it's automatically the elixir. Oh, you let him start bunting and he'll be fine. No. What I am saying is he's a guy who has speed. So he can beat out the choppers or the little bunts.
Right.
So try those for size, maybe once every 2 games to try to get yourself going. Or Lindor said in the same comment where he was talking about how Jose needs to hit home runs, Lindor said, hey, Jose-Ramirez could hit line-to-line singles anytime he wants. All right.
Then do it.
Please do it. Because then you take the burden off Francona having to answer the question every day, and his teammates are looking at a guy in that scenario who's got his confidence back and his swagger back.
He also has an option left. Would you send him down for a couple of weeks just to tell him to work on these things, or is that too much of a put down to somebody who's had the success he's had?
You're definitely sure he has an option.
Yeah.
Okay. It's getting close. It's getting close to that point.
And just say work on your line-to-line singles. Forget the home run.
Do something, but we need to see a different Ramirez. And when you're bad enough to attract the attention of Sports Illustrated and Tom Verducci, then that's bad. And Verducci went through the laundry list of problems, and we've seen them. You know, the pop-ups upon pop-ups upon pop-ups. He's out in front. He's caught in between. He's too early on the fastball, too late on the fastball, too early on the off-speed. He's off balance. And I think now the one place that you didn't think would ever hurt or he would ever be hurt by is the mental part. Because Ramirez always walks around with confidence, struts around the field.
You don't see that in the dugout.
Not anymore.
Yeah,
this is the first time I've seen the body language where it looks like Ramirez almost seems like he's a beaten guy.
Yeah, good point. Dennis Manoloff.